Hi, RV owners and those thinking about owning. Want to maximize the fun and minimize the hassle of buying an RV? You need GPS. It's Gigi's personal service. Our $350 package gets you me, the expert advice, and a host of outstanding services. Visit thervadvisor.com.
Little birdie told me I need RV advice.
Get information straight from the horse's mouth.
Little birdie told me I need RV advice.
It's Just Ask Gigi with Gigi Stetler and Tom Alexander. Now here's Gigi and Tom.
Hi everybody, welcome to Just Ask Gigi. I'm Tom Alexander, and of course, as always, I am joined. There she is, the one and only Gigi Stetler. Why did I have to think there? I didn't have to think. I know who you are.
I think it's the end of the day, and we're
the end of the day.
exhausted.
Yeah, that's come on. Who is this?
I just actually had a conversation with Sabrina, and I said, "Why am I doing a show? It's 5 o'clock." I said, "I'm going to look like I got run over by a freight train by now."
Yeah.
So,
No worries, you look just fine. So let's listen. I'll tell you, you were out in the field today.
yes,
And,
it's been quite the day.
yeah, so some stuff going on. I know you had some RV members who had GPS, Gigi's personal service.
It was so random. It was.
Yeah. So
It
tell
was
us
so.
what happened?
It was actually also great, but random. So members that had purchased GPS, I guess they had just purchased it not long ago, and they had their call with me. I guess yesterday or the day before, Monday, I think, and they have a soft floor, and they didn't own it very long. They bought it slightly used, but it's like a 2019 motorhome, and their floor was soft. They didn't notice it right away when they bought it, but they weren't really sure, a couple months after owning it, it's really soft. So anyway, they were wondering, I'm talking to them on the phone, and they were wondering what to do. Like, they wanted to go after the dealer, even though they bought it used as is. They did buy extended warranty, should they make a claim? So the whole purpose of GPS for them is, you want to know what tree to bark up. And that's what I always say, is because most of the time people are barking up the wrong tree. So anyway, I just happened to recognize their area code. And I said, "Oh, you're from Florida?" And they said, "Yeah, we live in Florida." I said, "Oh, where?" Well, they weren't very far from my personal dealership. So I said, "Well, lucky you." I said, "So bring it on in and let me evaluate it.
Yeah.
Don't do anything yet. Don't call anybody yet. Let me see what's going on."
Uh-huh.
So that's what happened. So they brought it in, dropped it off yesterday. And I went with ABR cameraman and went out and did some assessments, and we will take it away from the field, and I'll just show you my findings, and then we'll come back.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a peek. Here we go.
Hi. Well, here she is. So as we were talking, Tom and I, fortunately for them that they live in Florida, they were able to bring this unit to me. So I started crawling around, and I started actually outside, because you always have to try to figure out where the water is settling. So I've never seen anything like this, which is quite interesting. But maybe, can you get a shot of this up here? See if you can get a shot up under there, so bottom line with these nice folks, luckily they're members, and we don't know who's responsible yet or which tree to bark up at this moment, because we don't know if this is a covered loss. And 9 times out of 10, when a claim is denied, whether they were thinking it would be covered under their extended warranty, which that is not. Water damage is not extended warranty. Insurance, it could be covered under insurance, but there has to be a reason why it leaked. They don't just pay for bad fittings or manufactured design, things like that. So it's all about the way the shop calls in the claim, or the insured calls in the claim. So we'll go take a look inside. I already kind of took a peek under the vinyl. If you can see where the pieces of wood are separating there, and there's a line that goes across. So I kind of have to follow where it ends being soft. So here was the most part of the damage, which I've already opened this, and it's kind of sporadic, which is interesting because it's soft here, and I haven't gone into the subfloor yet, so I don't know if it's styrofoam yet, which hopefully it's not. So it appears to be darker up around there, under the shower. It is definitely soft all here under the shower. So one of two things are happening here. One, the P-trap in the shower could be cracked or loose or something. Or the toilet seal, because it is soft around here as well. But it goes all the way up to about here. So, but I did ask the customer an interesting question, and because if the shower, the P-trap on the shower, or even the gasket on the toilet, that's not covered. That is not covered by anything. So I asked the customer a question, because the only thing that would be covered is flooding. So let's go outside. Water seeks its own level. So if the camper's tipped a little bit this way and water was coming from the shower or the toilet and it rolled this way, that would cause this. And it somehow got in between the floor here, and it actually oxidized and ate the aluminum, which is crazy. That's an enormous amount of water. And the only thing that would eat aluminum like that would be something from the toilet. So the customer, when he dropped off, and I said, do you know what these two, you have your city water and your Santa flush. And I said, how do you hook up your water? Which valve do you use? Which intake valve? And the husband said, well, we know we're supposed to hook up to the city water, but I occasionally have hooked up to the Santa flush, because it seems like it does the same thing. And he said one day that they were out and he had hooked it up, and they went out to the grocery store or whatever, and they flooded the camper. So I said, wait a minute, you had a flood? You had a flood from being hooked up to the Santa flush? You didn't have your valve open? And he said, no, I know, it was really stupid, really stupid. My wife cleaned it all up, but it was a essy mess, So I said, that's an accident. You caused that damage by hooking up to the Santa flush. That's why when the toilet overflowed, because there's no place else for it to go, the chemicals that were on the bottom of that tank went into the subfloor, and it literally ate your aluminum, and it ate your floor. And I asked him what insurance he had, and he said, I have Progressive. And I said, it's covered. That's a covered loss. So I had Progressive. They made the claim, and they came, and we came to the conclusion and evaluated it that caused the problem for the floor, and it's about a $12,000 claim, because everything has to come out of there, everything. So anyway, the good news is he's covered, and we are about to do the job. So I guess the moral to the story is that, you know, you really have to, you know, if he wasn't a member, he might have gone to a different shop and never even thought about insurance because he was actually thinking it was manufacturer defect or going after the dealer or extended warranty, and none of that. That's, you know, you've got to find the right tree to bark up. And that's what we do. That's what we do here at the RV Advisor and GPS. I guide you to bark up the correct tree. So had I not figured out this conclusion, but I don't have to see the unit. I could have done a lot of that on FaceTime. So if you have a situation, before you call your insurance company, hire me, hire GPS. Let's do a video chat, FaceTime, whatever. Let me look at the entire situation, because if this was not called in right, if this would have gone to a shop and they would have said, you know, had to tear it apart first, what happens is an insurance company would make you tear it down first. And if they found that there was a loose fitting under the shower, they would deny it. Now you owe the shop for tearing it apart, and and now you've got to pay them to put it back together. So it's really, really, really important, you know, to know what you're doing, know what you're getting into, and just be a little bit prepared. And that's what we do here at the RV Advisor. Anyway, Tom, I'll be right back at you, and we'll sum it up.
All right. So obviously some things to assess and things to correct.
Yeah. So I actually, after looking at it, I didn't have the member here when I was looking at it today.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling, or I know the story now, but I had a feeling that, and it happens quite often. When you're on an RV, most RVs, they have a city water fill, and then they have a black tank flush, and they're normally side by side.
Mhm.
So in the dark, you can hook up the hose on the wrong spigot. So it's like filling up your toilet without having anywhere for it to go, and you overflow it. So I called him after I had pulled up the floor, and it looked to me that it was flooded. And not a lot of times men like to, I don't need to be saying that, but men don't like to admit that they could possibly make a mistake.
Oh,
That's
no.
impossible.
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
Can't do that.
We're real early not to admit that.
and it's even funnier actually when I've had customers come in with collision damage, and I go up on the roof, and there's like a tree branch sticking out of the air conditioner. I was like, that wasn't me. I could not have done that. I'm a 35-year truck driver, blah, blah, blah. You know? So anyway, it looked to me like this situation. So I called the guy and I said, did you happen to hook up by any chance? Did you happen to have a flood or hook up to the Santa flush and have some brown things floating around in your camper on the floor? So I hear he repeated. He's like, "No, I know what I'm doing." Anyway, so he's kind of saying that. So I hear the wife in the background, because I must have been on speaker. Honey, don't you remember I mopped up the floor that time when we came back from camping, whatever? And I opened the door and all and all this stuff was on the floor, and like, and then so, but it was just so funny the way that it went down. And I said, that's the best story you ever can tell, because accidents are covered by insurance. I said, that's a covered loss. Yeah. You made a mistake. You hooked it up wrong. Shit happens. And that's exactly what happened. And you overflowed your toilet, and it went down onto the floor.
Yeah.
And you probably, when she mopped it up, she had no idea that it went into the basement, and
Right.
It sat on the floor, and it saturated, and it rotted the floor away.
Yeah.
So anyway, I made a call. Well, they made a claim with Progressive, and I wrote it all up, and I'm going to get it covered. So
beautiful. There you go.
Yeah, that's a $11,000-$12,000 job. They need an entire new floor. Well, they need an entire new basement.
Yeah.
They need, I mean, it's bad. But had they called it in wrong,
Uh-huh.
Had they had said, oh, it's a manufacturer problem, maybe the fittings or something, it would have been denied. So you have to really, you need somebody with experience. And the fact that they had GPS, which was great, and they were local, which was even better. But
Yeah.
if there's a situation like that and you're at, obviously not around the corner from me, you're somewhere else, I could, with good FaceTime video,
Yeah.
I could have pretty much assessed that.
Yeah.
From far.
Remotely.
So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the
but
beauty
remember
part.
that accidents are covered. That's a mistake. They are covered under insurance. It's okay to hit something.
There
It's
you go.
okay to overflow your toilet.
A lot of people are fearful that that it's not, but it is. So that's a good thing. It's a good piece of information as a
Yes.
takeaway here from today's show. Well, listen. Speaking of takeaways, we've got to ask you some questions because and that always yields great advice. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back with a couple of questions for you right here on Just Ask Gigi. Back in just a moment.
The RVACA is a charitable organization protecting the rights of the RV owners. We'll work with dealers and manufacturers to ensure quality control is in place prior to delivery of an RV. Additionally, the RVACA provides assistance to disaster relief victims. Visit rvaca.org.
We are back on Just Ask Gigi along with Gigi Stetler. I am Tom Alexander. And Gigi, we've got a couple of questions. The first one is from Janet. And we're going to be spending a lot of time near the ocean where there's a lot of salt air. What's the best? It's a good question. What's the best thing to think about when being in salt air to protect your RV?
You're gonna get a lot of rust. It's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
There are products on the market. Try to prime it. Use Rust-Oleum and get it primed underneath because your axles, your LP tank or LP gas lines, everything that's steel, your jacks, it takes no time to rust. Even down here in the Florida Keys, when units come up, people want to come in for service or a trade-in or something like that, I know right away it's been at the Keys. So
just you can just by one look, huh?
Yeah. So yes, they and sometimes unfortunately, there's aluminum screws on the awnings and stuff like that, but you'll always get a batch of, a pile of screws, and you'll have 50 aluminum screws and 2 steel screws, so those, you'll find the little screws that'll rust, that don't be too worried about that. Just drill those screws out and put aluminum screws in. But the underbelly, you will rust. So get some Rust-Oleum and use Brillo, scratch it, and then paint it and keep it protected the best you can.
Excellent. We have another question that's sort of, well, this is definitely weather related, and it's about insurance. Hurricanes. Hurricanes. Is my RV protected? What kind of insurance plan should I get? Is my RV protected from a hurricane?
If you buy full coverage, and as I always say, to get stated value or replacement cost, do not get ACV. Pay the extra money. Mm-hmm. If we live here in Florida, and it's a given. They don't actually. It's different than homeowners. Homeowners, they charge you a hurricane premium. They do not have a hurricane premium on insurance. But I will tell you to make sure that you have insurance before a storm is named. The minute there's a named storm, you will not be able to buy insurance in the state that the hurricane is coming.
Wow.
But yes, you will be covered 100%. Check your deductibles, make sure that they're 500 or less.
Yeah.
But there's no extra premium for hurricanes.
Great to know. Well, that question, by the way, was from Kyle. So thank you, Janet, and thank you, Kyle, for your questions. If you have a question for Gigi right here on Just Ask Gigi, just write us info@thervadvisor.com, info@thervadvisor.com, and just in the subject line, just put Just Ask Gigi question or JAG, J-A-G question, and we'll make sure to answer it right here on the show. Well, Gigi, we'll come back to wrap things up right here and take a quick break. Back in a moment.
The RVACA is a charitable organization protecting the rights of the RV owners. We'll work with dealers and manufacturers to ensure quality control is in place prior to delivery of an RV. Additionally, the RVACA provides assistance to disaster relief victims. Visit rvaca.org.
Wrapping things up now on Just Ask Gigi, along with Gigi Stetler. I'm Tom Alexander, and Gigi, lots of big news, lots of things planned for 2021, that's for sure, right here at the RV Advisor, including our new social media platform, right?
So excited. I am so excited. The Good Samaritan Club social network, I'm so excited. And we've been playing around with it on the development site, and it's looking really good. And I can't wait to share it with everyone and get everybody on it, and it's totally free. And I think we'll have a great time, and we're gonna be good together, and we're gonna be good Samaritans. 2021 is the year for good Samaritans. Be good, do good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're sort of taking the tip from the wonderful RV community that's already out there, already established, because we're talking about some really good folks and a real family that exists out there from state to state. No matter where you go, you just run into people, friends you haven't met yet. And sometimes they become lifelong friends in the RV community. It's a real tight-knit community. We talk about that all the time on my podcast. And of course, on this show, it's come up numerous times. So why not have a social media platform for that?
Exactly. And, I kind of, it's for RVers, built by RVers. Yeah. So, and we're not going to be perfect when we're, shot straight out of the box. We're not going to be perfect. So, our first users, let's call them testers and founders, and get them involved early on so that they can help us build this site to be exactly what we want it to be.
Yeah. Terrific.
Very friendly,
we always appreciate your feedback, your help, your suggestions, criticisms, whatever it is. It all makes the site better, and ultimately we all benefit. So that's really, really important.
Oh, I have more news.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do it. What is that?
I have more news. So, we normally, or before, prior to, or actually we're starting maybe next week, but as soon as we can get the site up and running. But our members are 1 year, well, we have a 1, 3, and a 5 year membership, as you all know. And our 1 year members have never been a part of the Coupons and Travel and Rewards Club. So we're going to open that up to all members, the Travel and Rewards Clubs and the Coupons on the Go, because it doesn't matter if you're a 1 year or a 3 year or a 5 year member to us. We want everybody to have the same benefits and stuff. So it's just cheaper if you buy a 3 or a 5, but so anyway, but the coupons on the go are fantastic. Like if you're traveling and you're going to be, at such and such zip code at a certain time or whatever, and you want to get a bite to eat, you just put in the zip code and you want to look for restaurants, and all the restaurants that are going to be in that area will pop up with coupons, and you can download it right on your phone with a QR code. Walk into the restaurant, get your, whatever. Some of them are buy one meal, get the second meal free, or half price, $5 off or $8 off or free cocktail, whatever. Yeah. There's so many, like thousands of dollars in coupons that you can, take advantage of a month, if you're always out and about. So I'm going to open that up. And we're also adding another benefit to our members is troubleshooting. We have our virtual diagnosing, and we just feel that it's really, especially to newbies right now, they, a lot of times they're just little simple things that they just don't know. we'll save them a trip to the mechanic, or waiting 3 or 4 months to get something back. So we're going to have a designated email or a form to fill out, and you'll be able to get a troubleshooting question, and we'll know what department, to go to, whether it's electrical or plumbing or something like that. And we'll get some free answers for you as a member. So that's all coming very soon. So all of your memberships, so those of you listening that have bought a 1-year membership, you will be upgraded and you will have access to all the coupons. So don't worry, it's not for new members, it's for every member, new and old.
Excellent. Excellent. There you go. For more information, of course, you always can visit the site. It's thervadvisor.com, thervadvisor.com. Well, another show wrapped up for another week, but we'll be back again next Thursday with a new edition of Just Ask Gigi. For Gigi Stetler, I'm Tom Alexander. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.